All right, I'm look. Oh, did you change the picture for YouTube because it's probably some Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, it's all right. It'll be what it's gonna be. All right, you about ready? Let's change it over. Drop the music. Make sure that it flips. Yeah, it flipped. All right. So, greetings, citizens of the internet and everybody that's at home, hopefully. I'm Static Buzz, and with me, like always, is Oz, who doesn't want to be at home right now. How we doing over there? Maintaining? Maintaining. I feel you. I feel you. So, yeah, that's been a rough time. I know I've had some insomnia a couple nights, but I've gotten past that by working out during the day, so if you start seeing a buff static, then you know why. I'm trying to sleep better at night. Yeah. Yeah. Pandemic. Well, you could be in my boat where at my job it because of this pandemic, the legal searches and stuff like that I'm getting is going through the roof, and that's like all I'm doing all day is doing legal searches and providing them to the lawyers. And I got better stuff to do. The rest of the team is just doing it, and I'm taking care of that because it's really a one man job. You don't really want a bunch of people jumping on there and then stepping on each other. You need to kind of maintain what you're doing, but it's keeping me from that other stuff, and it's kind of making it rough on me. And it's mind-numbingly boring. It's a lot of copy and pasting and sending emails and yeah. The most interesting thing I got to do was try to figure out how to do a different type of Boolean search. So it gives you an idea of the stuff I'm doing. But anyways, to those people out there that don't know what this is, it's not just two guys rambling about stuff. This is the Gaming Watch Weekly Show, number 31 for, what is it? It's the 19th, May 19th. I put the right date up there. I can't believe I did that. 2020. And this is where we give you guys all the gaming news from the last week, and we're going to have some in from the last 2 weeks because we didn't do a show on Easter because it was Easter. Spent time with our families and all that good stuff. So there will be a little bit of stuff sprinkled in from the week before, but most of this is from the last week. And we give you that so that you can get caught up on all the news from last week going into this week and know what happened. All that good stuff. All right, and the first one I find kind of interesting, but I'm not buying it until it's officially announced that they're working on it. But Grand Theft Auto 6 production started, question mark, question mark, question mark. So in an interview with Kotaku, Rockstar executive Jennifer Kolb said one plan that management has laid out for the next game, a new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, is to start out with a moderately sized release, which by Rockstar standards would still be a large game, that is then expanded with regular updates over time, which may help mitigate stress and crunch. And what this whole article was about was how Rockstar was changing their, what's the word that I'm, culture at there to eliminate crunch and all that stuff to give their employees a breather with not cracking that whip all day long and all night long. So people have taken this statement to mean that the game's production has started, but that might not be the case. It does look good though that if Rockstar has started production on GTA 6, that if it hasn't started production on GTA 6, that it's making the necessary plans to do that soon. And you were talking about earlier that Grand Theft Auto is still going strong. Why do you need a Grand Theft 6? But Yeah. Well, I mean, even if they're starting it now, it doesn't mean we're going to see it in 2021, 2022. It might be 2023. So you would want to start it now. And who's to say they even have the city at this point that they want to build, right? So San Andreas, man, that's where I want to go. I enjoyed that one. Uh, Vice City was good. All that 80s vibe going on, like Miami's Vice. Right. Yeah, but I kind of enjoy that silent protagonist nod because I always make fun of it. It's like that, or yeah, yeah. It had that gangster feel to it. Yeah, and I tried to play it a couple months back just because I was trying to remember what it was all about, and it's rough to go and play it now, but the opening scene where they're sitting in like a back room playing poker and talking about going down and starting things off, and it was yeah, it had that whole gangster vibe, reminded me of Casino and all that stuff. It was yeah, they took from all those genres. So speaking of open world games that may be inspired by GTA, I think the next one. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, this has nothing to do with GTA. This is a new game that we got surprised by. Man, that was a bad segue. Well, and it also sounded like you're like a police squad or a special squad or something in the city that's trying to maintain peace, but in a human alien city. And some of the things that I saw, they had like breaches. They had where you would plan your breaches and all that stuff. And then also, if you one of your guys got downed, he wouldn't die. You would have a chance to go over and hit him with a stim pack or something and bring him back up. Yeah. It's never good when you feel like the game cheated you and didn't beat you fairly. That's always a bad thing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the things, if you go to their site, their website, they're actually building up the characters in your squad, giving them names and backstories and stuff. So it kind of makes me hopeful that you don't lose them, no matter what. But that's gonna be hard to say. And a lot of people like would believe, well, that's not an XCOM game then, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I always felt that way. And you got like, okay, it's not even just that one character. You've got this squad built up. You got the perfect squad. You got your sniper, you got your heavy, you got your medic, you got all the different things covered. You got your Overwatch guy, you got all those guys, and then you lose one guy, and then you got to go back and try to get this randomness thing going on to try to replace that position that you had, and it just doesn't happen. It's really really frustrating. It's like having a perfect 5-man dungeon raiding team and losing one, and then trying to fill that role. Just unless they were deeps and it's easy to do deeps, then yeah. Well, on the last one, he shoots himself in the foot. I thought this guy was a professional. Oh yeah. I almost wonder if they built that into the game so that you'd have to replay the missions to make it last longer or something. I am definitely with you there, and I kind of messed up on the stories I'm looking at now, and I missed one. So, I'm going to cover this next one really fast, which was the segue, and then I'm going to go into the one that I think we should cover because this is a problem that is getting worse and worse in gaming going forward. So, anyways, rumored last week or 2 weeks ago we talked about Saints Row the Third being remastered coming out. It is coming out. It's coming out on May 5/22/20. Uh, that's May, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a brain fart because I've been in house. It's going to have enhanced graphics, improved lighting, reworked environments, and visual effects. Steelport, the Third Street Saints have never looked so good. It's going to have all the DLC, all that good stuff. All right, so now it does look really, really good. Yeah, 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 definitely. All right, so I don't know if you saw this because I just now highlighted it to signify that it was a separate story. All right, so I'll just read it and you can read it with me. So Valorant's anti-cheat program goes too far? Question mark. So Valorant is a new battle royale game from Riot Games, and the anti-cheat program used by Riot Games on their recent release Valorant battle royale game appears to have gone too far. It writes to the kernel of your operating system, and that means it loads up as Windows loads up and before you log in. So here is what Riot said about it. The client user mode handles all of the anti-cheat directions while a game is running. The client needs to communicate with the platform to receive detection and in order for a player to be able to play. The client does not consider a machine trusted unless it recognizes the driver. Untrusted machines cannot play Valorant. The driver, kernel mode, which is always bad, is used by clients to validate memory and system state and to make sure the client has not been tampered with. The drivers must run at startup to prevent loading cheats prior to the client initialization. The driver can be uninstalled at any time, Riot Vanguard, in add remove programs, although Valorant won't run without it. The driver does not collect or send any information about your computer back to us. The driver has been signed by Riot's own EV cert, which has in turn been signed by Microsoft as per their code signing processes. So yes, this requires an SSL cert. I looked it up. I have also heard reports that the anti-cheat software doesn't uninstall when you uninstall the game. Like they said, you got to go in and do it yourself. This is just bad. If a hacker was to get a hold of this and take over this program, it would have access to everything. No. And I don't no, and it's not even DRM, it's anti-cheat, which to me is ridiculous that this program is going to run regardless if you're running the game or not. And I personally, I've seen Valorant. I'm not in the battle royales, but if I was, and then I installed this and that was on my computer, oh my gosh, I would have been outraged. Mm-hmm. Well, all it's saying is that Riot has a signed cert from Microsoft, which means Jack. Right, I get that. Microsoft. Yeah, and I don't know their quality control there, to be honest with you. Yeah, it would have been uninstalled and a letter of outrage to whoever put that in their game to be installed on my system. That's that's overkill. And kernel level is like basically God rights. Anything you can do as an admin, you know, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. All right, so going from a bad story, and we're gonna hop through these stories quickly because there's a lot of them, and we don't want to take too much time with them. Just so you know, this is a meaty episode. So going from a bad story, one that kind of gets me fired up, into something that's, I think it's a good story. You want to go ahead and take the next one? Yeah, mid-May. That's when it's normally run. Yeah, so basically, they run it in Germany. This is a German convention, and and they basically said, the government said nothing until August 31st for any kind of get-togethers of that scale. So yeah, yeah, it would Germany, and there, but I was watching another news show talk about this, and they were talking about how many people go to this, and they were like, oh, like 10, 20,000, and they looked it up, and it was more like 200 to 300,000, somewhere in that range. It's a lot of people to go to Gamescom. Well, it still might be, and there's still stuff coming out. Well, we could do it digitally. We could always stream it in. No, it's not. Well, hopefully I get to do that one of these days. But yeah, maybe we need to talk about a strategy of streaming some of these um, E3 and whatever else is going. Well, E3 is not going digital this year, so it was whatever ones after that. Was it PAX or yeah, yeah, yeah? That's something we might do. We just got to discuss it and talk about it. So, on to the next story, and I was kind of excited to see this one because I'm looking forward to this game. Torchlight 3 to retain Fort system from Torchlight Frontiers. A post on April 16th on the official Torchlight 3 site had this to say: in Torchlight 3, every adventurer earns their own fortress in the frontier. A customizable, personalizable plot of environmental expression. Explore the freedom of creating both form and function as you place decorative set pieces alongside gameplay enhancing buildings. The possibilities are endless. Going into what's in the forts, they said stuff like like a beautiful luck tree to bestow its blessing on fellow fortune seekers, or an alluring enchanting station to share your rarest recipes. So in Frontier, was it Frontier or Frontiers? It was Torchlight Frontier Tiers, whatever it was. You had a fort, and as you progressed, you unlocked more and more things for it, and higher levels of, say, like the enchantment table and stuff like that. And you could place them wherever you wanted in your fort, and they had different looks and feels and different stuff like that you could put in. They had trees, they had fences, they had anything you could imagine you would put into like a yard type scenario you had in this fort. And when they announced that they were going from Frontiers to Torchlight 3, I kind of was worried that they were going to lose this because it's kind of fun to, and then you can invite people in, they could see it and stuff like that. And it's almost like a bragging rights type of thing. So it's, if they add like cosmetics to it later on, it could be really, really cool. So looking forward to it. Yeah, but it wasn't. And how far you progressed. Yeah, yeah. No, definitely wasn't. But I mean, it was okay. It wasn't. I mean, if you got past the fact that well everybody's going through this, it still was. Hey, I got a fort I could do things in. It was okay. Yeah, talking about something that hopefully isn't disappointing. You got to read my last line there. You got to read that. I was watching Digital Foundry. They had a thing on this for the remaster. It looks gorgeous, by the way. It does. It looks gorgeous. But they were talking about how it's going to melt PCs. So how could it not melt the Switch? Well, I mean, not technically, but yeah, like the have you? Yeah, you got to go watch the video. It looks really really good. Yeah, it looks pretty amazing to be honest with you. Yeah, it's really really good. I never played all the way through it. I played some of it, but never played all the way through it. So maybe if I get the PC for it in the next year or so, I'm still waiting for announcements from Nvidia and Intel. To be honest with you, before I decide what I want to do. But yeah, well, that's the whole point in waiting for Nvidia because they're supposed to, because of the competition, the next one's supposed to be such a leap in performance. Yeah. Oh, you were talking about AMD CPUs. That's what you were talking about. Yeah. But even Intel is supposed to be coming up with a CPU that rivals that one. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how it all shakes out. That whole PC market's not that you go down and you buy a box. You got to be smart about you spending your money. So, yeah. But I'm just waiting to see what comes out so that I don't, so I have all my options. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing. Well, I'm not unhappy with what I have now, so it's not. There's no rush. But I wouldn't mind getting an RTX card, but I don't think spending that money would be worth it right now. Right? If they announce a new, well, if they announce a new card, right, the older card should drop in price, in theory. In November. Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday's always a good day. I don't like going to the stores, but Cyber Monday is always good. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So speaking of PC games, but I guess this one is also on console. Age of Wonder Planetfall has announced an Invasion DLC. So on their blog, their site, they said, "Hello everyone. Today we are announcing the next expansion for Age of Wonders: Planetfall Invasion. Invasion will be released on the 26th of May on all platforms, and we will be doing a series of dev journals and streams to tell you all about it." So this is just the first one. So they're introducing a new race, and it's called the Shakarn. The new player race, their wording's not great here. This new player race are a race, is a race, of cold-blooded lizards who are dedicated to war and conquest. The Shakarn have been lurking on the edge of Star Union space for centuries. So there's going to be two new mission campaigns to their story. They're also going to have the Voidbringers. So the Shakarn are not the only dangers that have been lurking out in the void. A group of beings known as the Voidbringers have also been stirring and have chosen this moment to make their appearance. They're adding some world events to make everything a little bit more random. They're also saying that new player NPC faction for players to befriend or annihilate, new exploration sites, new wildlife units, a new cooperative world template. And they said there's still a lot of streams and dev diaries to come, so watch for those. And then they reiterate that it's coming out on May 26th. And I'm bringing this up because I really like Age of Wonders, the original one. I haven't played Planetfall. I probably should dive into it, but it's a 4X game and it takes time. It's one of those time games, so I just haven't had the time. But I do enjoy them. Yeah, you could do that in those games. It's just not as gratuitously violent, and it's longer. Yeah, you got to build up the army, go take over the city, and then bend the wheels of the society to yours. No, no. Yep, I totally feel you. I uh I bought the, what is it, Planet Zoo? It's you one of those theme park management type games, and I started playing that, but they went way too deep. You got to know what kind of food to put in there. You got to kind of know what environment to put it in there. You got kind of grass, if they have snow, if what kind of trees and bushes they want, if they want water. I mean, and it's like that's just too deep. I just want to make something that looks cool and my panthers can run around and jump up in trees in. I don't want to have to know what kind of tree I got to put in this habitat for these guys. But yeah, that's another one of those time sinks. It's a fun game, but do I have the time to sink into it to get all those game features and mechanics down? And it's like, man, I just don't have the time for that. All right, so speaking of things that are probably way past their time, you want to talk about the next one? You're kind of cutting in and out a little bit. That's right. Let me double check. I'm gonna go to the pre, but you can keep talking. Keep talking.
Nintendo Switch and PS4.
Oh, they were right. There was no sound from you
At all.
at all.
So shit.
Yeah, that's all right. That's my fault. I was doing some stuff with OBS and I turned off desktop. So, yep, there was no sound from Oz. Sorry about that. He's talking about the next one. Just go ahead and start that over. We'll just go from there. Technical difficulties, right?
Technical difficulties. The classic Star Wars Episode 1 racer, our pod racer, is coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. Officially announced on the Star Wars site. Pod Racer is now coming back. It is basically, it will have 25 playable racers, including Anakin, Sebulba. There are, 8 worlds, Tatooine, and all of them. Droids to work on, split screen, all the same stuff that you remember from the first one. Now, for me, I wasn't a huge fan of it because I hated the pod racing from the first one. I really did.
Oh, you mean those sections of the movie?
Yeah, I really just did not enjoy that at all. Anakin it's working. Well, great, dude. But I don't know. I was not a fan of the pod racing. Period. So
I did,
and I never played the game.
I played the game. It's a good game. The problem with this is, I think it came out 2007 or something. And it's the same game. They're not up-resing it. They're not doing anything to it.
Well, that's even worse then, man. Like, why? At this point, why would you buy it? It was okay back then. It will be okay now, just on a newer platform. So, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe they're trying to lead into another game or something. Maybe like next year we'll see a newer pod racing game or something that's more elaborate, newer graphics. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
Pod racing though,
because they brought back all the other Star Wars games and they did so well, so they think they'll do well with this one.
Okay, bring back Knights of the Old Republic. How about that? And do that really nice. Okay, that was okay, but back pod racing? I mean, come on. That was...
But they're not changing.
That game was abysmal at that,
It's the same game. Same graphics.
Okay, re-release KOTOR and KOTOR 2 so that they're playable on newer hardware. Like, remember when I tried to play through it and it kept crashing?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't like the newer hardware. So how about that instead of pod racer? Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. People enjoyed it. And there were cool stuff about it in the movie, and there's cool things about it in the game, but to be honest, I mean, this is not high res. This is not even upping it a little bit. This is just...
Not adding features,
we're just porting it over to be the same game as it was. I mean, I'm telling you, if they were to do KOTOR 1 and 2...
Remastered.
Even remastered be even better.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
But even if you could re-release them, just to playable on newer hardware would be even better. Just because everyone liked those games a lot. Like, I had to I let someone borrow my original KOTOR back in the day, and he kept it. And I had to go out and re-buy it because the guy PCS'd away, and that was that. But those games are phenomenal. So this game is abysmal at that.
So let me point something out to show you how much they're not changing here. Split screen multiplayer for Nintendo Switch and PS4, and LAN multiplayer.
Yes.
Not even online. LAN multiplayer. Which means they're not changing a dang thing. because they already had that code in there.
Yeah, the only thing they're doing is upping the code run on newer hardware. That's it. They're basically just editing that.
Maybe. We'll see how it runs.
My thing is why? Why even waste the resources on this? Episode 1 sucked, okay? So let's not focus on that. Give me something like that takes place in The Mandalorian, you know, that focuses on The Mandalorian or Baby Yoda, or focus on like the Jedi Knight Academy, stuff like that. But don't give me Pod Racer. Give me something else.
Good. Yeah.
Disney, why?
I'm with you. So going from an old gen to a new gen that's not doing anything, we have one that's going from current gen to next gen and up-resing everything. This game looked amazing on the video they showed for the next gen. Anyways, Observer System Redux comes holiday 2020, built for next gen. April 16, the Bloober Team's YouTube channel released a video showcasing the remastered version of the Observer game and added this. Veteran observers can dive deeper into the dystopian reality thanks to expanded gameplay and brand new story content, while newcomers will get the chance to experience the cyberpunk thriller in all its chilling next-gen glory. Considered one of the scariest games currently available and one of the best cyberpunk games coming to the next-generation consoles, System Redo is the definitive vision of this thriller tale coming for the 2020 holiday season. Now, Observer is on Game Pass, and I've almost started it like 5 times. Now I'm glad I haven't, because I'll wait for that and then I'll play it on the next gen.
Yeah, I haven't touched that either, but it's I don't like anything that's cyberpunkish.
Well, this has got Rutger Hauer as the main character.
Okay.
I'm sold right there. I mean, it kind of had like Blade Runner vibes, you know?
Yeah, and Blade Runner, I love Blade Runner. But yeah, I will definitely wait for this to come out again. Hopefully they do it on PC.
It's coming for PC. PS, okay. Whatever.
It just says next gen. It says next gen console, but it doesn't say PC in there, so I'm hoping it's PC.
Yeah, they'll probably release it for PC. They'd be kind of dumb not to.
You have to anymore. You have to release everything on PC at some point because PC is the superior race. Just saying. But I mean, you limit people on who you can sell to. You know, like me, I'm mostly PC. So yeah, I really do hope they do that. That would be great.
Yeah, well, they didn't really specify which consoles either. They just said built for next gen. So
next gen. Well, that probably means everything.
Yeah.
You know that it's gonna. Yeah. So
hopefully. All right. So going to the next article that's going to cross, at least for this year, one of the items on my bucket list as undoable.
No, it's not. Let's just go into it. Okay, so Blizzard might not be feasible to coronavirus. So,
you broke up right there. You want to say that again?
Okay, so Blizzard warns that BlizzCon 2020 may not be feasible due to coronavirus. Right. I have read into this a couple of times on different sites because I was upset as well when I put it in there. At nowhere have they officially said we're not doing it. Right now, they are doing their damnedest to do it, keep it going, because they did once 1 year where they skipped a BlizzCon, and it just did not roll well for them. And they have vowed, pretty much ever since to do it if at all possible. So my thing is, unless the state of California is still on lockdown when it comes to November, they should still be able to hold it because it is a November convention. Sorry, yeah, I had a brain fart there. November convention. So like last year, we left Halloween Day for it to start the very next day, and so I'd have to look and see where it falls this year. But at this point, getting outside of gaming and whatnot, with the way the numbers are looking for coronavirus, I still think there's a chance that happen, to be honest. Unless there is a second wave or something else, I don't see them canceling it just because this is a major money maker for Blizzard. It gets everyone there. They do a lot of their major releases there, so to sit there and not do it, I could understand if they held it like in April. Go, yeah, we're not going to do it this year. But being that it's always done in November, I mean, let's just put it in the holding pattern and keep our fingers crossed that this will happen.
February or something early in the year, so they can still roll with the later one for 2021.
Well, I mean,
something.
I mean, the thing is if you don't do it when you're supposed to do it, you might as well just cancel it. To sit there and push it later, I don't know. Because people have already started blocking time off for it. I've already started blocking time out to go to BlizzCon. So it's one of those things that, I'm already preparing for it. I just don't have tickets in hand yet for it. So,
well, hopefully it doesn't become just digital.
Well, I mean,
they're set up for it because they do all the digital stuff.
Oh yeah, they do they do it on, they stream it the whole time, but it's there mostly for the people in the convention center. I mean, the people that watch it get the stage stuff, but you miss out on everything else, playing all, like, if you go down into the basement, they have all of the old games there playable. If you're on the main floor, it's all of the stuff that's in development there to play. You go over to watch the actual arena game being played, which, it's all great. I enjoy that stuff. I mean, I don't really play Overwatch, but I do enjoy watching the Overwatch tournaments, I think it's just because I'm not really good at it, but my thing is, I'm not ready to call this off yet until we see how the governor of California handles how long he's going to keep the state locked down. Yeah. So,
well, if you listen and everything, they're talking end of the month is when the governors will have to start deciding what they want to do for the next month. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you live, we're in Arizona, but I'm from Michigan, so I keep an eye on what they're doing up there. And, I think Arizona will open up, say, before Michigan, before California, definitely before New York. But again, but for BlizzCon wise, we'll just have to keep an eye on it. It is in Anaheim, a dense area, so, it'll take longer to clear it up. But again, it's still in November, so we have time.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know when we know.
Yeah, definitely true.
All right, going into the next story, Remnant from the Ashes, Swamps of Corsus DLC announced. The planned release date for the DLC is April 28th. Here's a little about what will be in it. Begin your journey across the dangerous and corrupted world of Remnant from the Ashes with a new mode and expanded map content in Swamp of Corsus. So they're going to have a new mode. It's going to be survival. It's kind of a roguelike game. Start your adventure off with nothing but a pistol, scrape the skins off your back, all that stuff. So it'll be like a roguelike, restarting every time to see how far you can get. There's going to be the Iskall Rise. The Swamps of Corsus swarm with new content. So it'll be like the regular game, and they're going to add some new zones. In adventure mode is what they're calling, the standard mode. There's going to be new bosses, new stories. And they're going to say there's new items, new armor, skins, new weapons, new modes, new traits. So if you're into Remnant of the Ashes, which is a good game, I really enjoyed Remnant of the Ashes. You should play with other people. Solo is really rough, but it's a real good game.
I don't think I ever got into that game, to be honest.
It's a Souls-like game that has guns.
Okay. Yeah, I have never played anything like that then. And that probably, if it's like Dark Souls, then probably not. Just because I did not enjoy my first attempt at Dark Souls. So
yeah,
I'd have to try it again someday. But
Souls-like games is definitely an acquired taste. And if you ever do, let me know because I can come in and help you.
Yeah, that is true.
So, all right. So, speaking of DLC, take it away.
Sure. So, Cyberpunk 2077 will have as many DLCs as The Witcher 3, and by as many would we mean a lot. Witcher 3 had aliens.
Yeah.
They were large, and they are pretty much going to follow that because it worked out well for The Witcher. They are also still on track. It also says Cyberpunk 2077 remains on track for September. So these are two stories mashed into one because it was all last week's news. But so good news is we're going to have plenty of DLCs for Cyberpunk 2077, and it's also still on track. So I'm very happy about that because initially it got pushed back because Keanu needed more screen time, which we were all okay with. And then it got pushed back again due to COVID-19. But now they're saying they're still on track for September. So before Thanksgiving, actually before Halloween. So actually about the time my son arrives. So that's actually not bad since I'll be home anyways. Might as well play that.
If you get the time, I mean.
Yeah, if I get the time. What might be late nights playing? I don't know. We'll see. All I care about as long as it comes out. You know, I don't mean at this point, even if it's late, I'm okay. It's just, this is basically number one on my want list for games right now.
I think it's probably number one for most people for this year. I think that if it lives up to its minimal expectations, it'll be Game of the Year candidate for a lot of outlets. So
definitely.
So speaking of games that are yet to come out and need to get ratings, which Cyberpunk's probably rated R or whatever, 17, whatever.
Well, if it has anything to do with drug use and
yeah, they cranked that up.
Yeah, it's going to be whatever the highest level of ESRB is, because I think there's drug use, gore, and I think sex. So yeah,
and yeah, sexual content, and nudity, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, so again, this is from CD Projekt Red. So in The Witcher, there were boobs on the screen. So yes, I will assume that if they're going to follow that same line of success, they're going to do the same thing, and it's going to be for adults or mature audience.
All right, which takes us to our next story, which Cyberpunk won't be subject to this, I don't believe, anyways. ESRB to have a new tag for loot boxes and the type of things like that. So on April 13th, the ESRB posted the following: introducing a new interactive element in game purchases, and in brackets includes random items. So on April 18th, the ESRB began assigning interactive elements to physical games with the in-game purchases and user interactive notice. So basically, it has the rating underneath it. It has like some, the sexual content, and this is a new one where it says includes random items in the purchases. So gambling, in a sense, is what they're basically saying. I mean, there's a lot of this. I won't go into all of it, but if you want to read up on it, it's on the ESRB site. And I don't know what that means for games. I mean, it's not going to obviously stop anybody from doing it, but it's, I guess, a step in the right direction for parents.
Well, I think it's more or less to let them know that it is a type of gambling. You're not guaranteed with before. So for someone like me who, like, in the Division, when I want a specific piece or clothing, I'll throw money at it and eventually get everything for, Would I be disappointed if it was said, oh, you buy this, you get this, and it didn't fit? Well, yeah. So I think it's to cover that. But honestly, I really don't care. I mean, I honestly hate loot boxes for the most part. I think that I think in the beginning they had good intentions, but then they have been milked so heavily that we've just become numb to it, and really we should quit doing it as a gaming community to force them not to do them and to put everything in game. So if you want that hunter out, it needs to be in game and achievable some other way. Besides being bought,
Well, I wouldn't even be mad if they said, okay, we got this expansion pack, or not an expansion. We got this add-on pack where you get these 5 costumes. Stuff like that's fine with me if you want to buy that, right?
They did that in the first division, though. There was like the military pack and this and that, but at some point to the second one, it became a random item, kind of like how it's in Overwatch. Like, okay, in this box could be any of these items, but these items up here have the least likely chance to drop, and these down here are going to drop more. So buy 20 boxes, you're going to get most of the shit down here and stuff you really wanted.
Right.
So, and that's more or less what this is to tell you. Like,
I like being able to see what I'm buying. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, and honestly, I wish they would go back the way they did in the first division. Like, oh, okay, here is the military pack. Here is this, the hunter pack for when you go to New York. Here's the hunters, but they didn't do that. It was all random. Yeah. I don't much enjoy that, but because I wanted to be the hunter, I decided to play the game, which I shouldn't have.
Could you imagine if this was like real life and they did that? Like, you'd get a box, you'd open it up, it'd be like the thing you didn't want, you'd throw it in your house somewhere or sell it, and the amount of things that would pile up in your house before you got the thing you wanted would be ridiculous. You'd run out of room. It would not be feasible in real life.
No. It would just piss people off, and which it should in game, because like in the division now, repeat item. It doesn't turn an experience, it turns into this textile credits that go into a different category that can be used to purchase other cosmetic items that aren't the latest and greatest cosmetic items. So you would have to wait for the hunter to move down, and then, textile, I could buy that. And it's like, okay, I see what you guys are doing here. I don't approve of it, but it's going in the kind of the right direction.
I think you know me well enough now that I didn't really pay that close attention to the cosmetics in that game that close.
I like cosmetics, but I've said that all along. I like.
I do too, but at some point I just like whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it so much that I gotta go and get this hunter outfit. Now, if it drops and I get it that way, fine, great. But I'm not gonna go and unless it's an event that's fun. I'll go do that and get cosmetics. I'm always fine with that. Like in WoW, when you would go and do those, those older raids to get the mounts or the whatever. Those are fun. But
they're fun until you do them 100 times and you're like, this bloody mount still won't drop.
Well,
and
in those cases,
drop rate and it's 0.4%. So you're like, yeah, that'll never drop. Riverdeer's mount.
Yeah, those are the ones where you got to question the drop rate. But
yeah. So like Invincible has a higher drop rate than Riverdeer's mount, but I want Riverdeer's mount. But it'll never happen. It's dropped once, and the guy that I rolled with that got it, he stopped playing.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
The guy's like, I got what I wanted. I don't know. There's nothing for me to play for anymore. See you.
See you. I'm out.
All right, so the ESRB has started doing that, and also something else that has started as of last week.
Yes, so World of Warcraft Shadowlands Alpha invites went out last week. This is actually the first time I have not put in for a Alpha invite, just because of everything that's going on. I just didn't want to also have to install yet another instance of WoW on. But in the past, I have gotten one for almost every expansion that I've put in for. This one I just did mostly because I didn't want to ruin it for myself. Like when I've played in the past, Alpha and whatnot, not a lot changes. Stuff does change, but not a lot. And then you're like, oh, I know what's going to happen next. You hit these major story points, and you're like, I really should have not done this. So, yeah, I didn't put in for it this year, but it is in alpha testing, so which means it's going to be coming down the pipe. I would assume probably a little bit before November, because we will want to talk about it at BlizzCon. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, well, if they're getting close enough where they got the alpha out there, that means beta, beta will happen in a month or two, and then
Yeah.
the release will happen soon after beta. So, yeah, they're
Well,
on
I
track.
mean, they're already talking about the getting ready for the pre Shadowlands event. So there's alluding to that. So once you start seeing the patch notes, that we know we're getting close. But by
Close.
that point, we already will stay. But once you start seeing them putting stuff in there in the patch notes, that it's like, oh, this is behind the scenes, then yeah, there's stuff. Then you know that they're getting closer. We'll see, but yeah, we're getting there. It's the 8th expansion. Just so we all know, it's the 8th expansion for WoW.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, and I don't know if I told you this. I canceled my subscription just because I haven't been playing it. It was like, I don't know if when this Shadowland stuff starts up, if I'm gonna pick it up or not.
I will, because I'm excited for it. So as a warlock, I like stuff that's warlockish, and there's the one zone that is kind of like why I liked the last expansion.
Oh, where they had the whole
Legion.
Zone, yeah, they had
Yeah,
the zones
Legion.
for each
I
character.
loved. Yeah, I loved Legion. Legion was great. I played a lot of Legion. I didn't raid a lot, but I played a lot of Legion, doing dailies and stuff like that. But this one, I just didn't want to ruin it, so I didn't put in for the alpha, beta, or any of that. So I'll probably get a open invite, like everyone should at that point.
Yeah, I did play Legion. I played a Warlock in Legion just so I could go to that hub because the hub there was pretty cool for the Warlock.
Yes, that was the coolest one out of all of them. I think Hunters really got screwed in that one.
Oh yeah,
if you're asking me, Hunters got screwed.
Hunters always get screwed. They always nobody likes them in their party because they're always not good players and.
No, they don't.
And then they get screwed on every patch because they keep taking away so many of utilities I had in PvP, and I still wasn't good at PvP because the class gets annihilated. But at least I had some utilities back in the day that I could do some things. They took all of those away, and they have never given them back, and they just keep nerfing, taking things away and simplifying it. I don't want to simplify it. I want all those abilities. I want to be able to go to my third, fourth bar and hit something that I hit once every month just because I know it's that situation that I need to do that because it makes me feel like my class has depth and they've just taken that all away. I think they've done that with a lot of classes though.
That goes back to my complaint all along. They have squished everything down and they have made it easier. Classes are easier to play. So they really don't have rotations anymore. Everything's a priority. Okay. It's still kind of a rotation, but they've squished it down. So there isn't this huge tree like, okay, start off with this, then go to this, then go to this. If this is going on, do this. If this is going on, do this.
Right.
If this situation is still going on, do this, then start over again. It's still linear. It's just constantly this. There's no, like Warlocks were good at CC. I'm not good at it, but we had like no shit. Like, okay, I'll scare them and they'll run off for a little bit. Hannah's unhappy. But
who does CC anymore? That's the other problem.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, so the mage still can sheep.
No, I know the classes can do them. I'm saying, what group have you been in that hasn't been like?
Oh,
one
no
of your
one
friends?
CCs anymore because they have changed it that everything's just face roll. So you have 2 tanks, they'll just keep aggro, and then everyone AoEs everything down. But that's what people want. They don't want the okay, I'm going to pull this guy, I'm going to ice trap this guy. When we get this guy done, we're going to break the ice trap. Once that happens, then we can do this. No, nowadays they Warrior just charges in, pulls in everybody AoEs everything down, and then they focus on whatever it is.
And while we're doing that, you're going to have to fear kite this other thing over here because we don't want to deal with him until afterwards.
You can't even fear kite anymore because eventually they build up a resistance to fearing.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you can't really fear kite anymore.
They took all the fun mechanics out of the game. We beat that dead horse. What I will say is I haven't watched the videos, but I've seen a lot of the titles of the videos for World of Warcraft Shadowlands. People that have played it, and they seem to think that it's a game changer for WoW. So
Well, so we have talked about this. I was never really a fan when Ian took over as WoW's lead director, game development director. He's taken it in a direction that I was not excited about. And then when Chris Metzen left, who was the
lore guy,
pretty much the big lore storyteller of any IP that Blizzard has, it was his brainchild. You know, I met him once or twice at BlizzCon. Really cool dude. Just really creative. I don't have that in me to be. I wish I did, so I could create universes like that. The universe create, but getting back to my main point is, when key people leave and they put people in that really shouldn't be there doing. I mean, Ian was good at being a raid developer. He developed raids. That was his thing. He was good at that. He should have stayed in that box because when it was him solely focusing on raids, they were excellent raids. Okay, I mean, all you got to do is look at the ones in Wrath and the Cataclysm. They were phenomenal raids. But you know, since he kind of stepped out of that box and became the big guy for all of WoW, things have changed. Things got a little dumbed down. You know, I'm not complaining that dailies have gotten a little bit shorter, so I can usually level up my, you know, and get to revered quicker than what it used to take. It used to take months. Now I can do it in like a month if I just sit down and do it. But those are little quality of life things. I'm talking, you know, the big thing is story. I think has suffered. You know, like what keeps me coming back every day? Like, great, you give me a new expansion, but I burned through the story in a month and I'm max level. What keeps me coming back? And that's where I think it's suffered, is keeping people coming back every day. Why do I need to log in? Why do I need to log in, man? That's what you got to keep asking. That's what I think. That's what I've always said when I've talked to them. What keeps me logging in every day?
And it can't feel like a job.
No, it can't feel like it's one of those things where it's like I have to want to log in, and when I don't get to, I need the support. Couldn't, you know. But if I'm like, fuck it, I got to log in and I got to do this, because if I don't do this, then I'm gonna fall behind the curve, and then I can't get. Pisses me. Now. If it's one of those that it's fun and I enjoy doing it, and yes, I still need it for the curve, okay, but if it's solely for the curve, then I don't want to do it. I lose interest, and it was like those damn turtles. Another turtle made it to the wall. I hate those guys because A, their dailies are stupid, and B, their dailies are stupid and their rewards suck. So, no more turtles. Just saying.
Or fix the turtles.
You know, whatever. I have them high enough that I don't need to do them anymore. I never got them to exalt, but I don't have to do them anymore.
I never liked the factions playing a huge part in how the overall game worked. Having them as bonuses and cool things is fine, but having them play such a part in, like, you got to max them out to get flying and all those type of things, that just annoys me.
Yeah, getting reputations. Okay, so yes, I liked it better when all I had to do was get max level, go buy the license, and I could. That was great. Now it's, yes, you got to do all of this stuff for part one, and then at the second half of the next big update, then they release the second one, and then you have to do that one too, and that does kind of suck, because it's like, okay, not only do I have to get all of these guys to Exalted, I got to get these new factions to Exalted, plus I think it's usually investigate every part of the map and unlock all the little map unlocks, then get everybody to Exalted, wait, and then get the new part 2, explore all that new shit, these guys to Exalted. And there might be a quest line that you got to do as well.
I don't mind the quest line, but it shouldn't be drug out.
And they really do drag it out. But if you were watching BlizzCon last year and how people were disappointed that they're gonna do it the same way in Shadow, it's gonna be flying is gonna have to be unlocked through achievements. Now, what you have to do to get those achievements, I don't know. It's probably gonna follow suit, you know.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, okay, you have this ability, flying, if you've done everything in the expansion before it, and then they take that away from you in the next expansion. You're like, why? What kind of lore makes sense that you take flying away? Like, all of a sudden, my mouse that could fly can't fly in the zone until I do some stupid quest or things that makes zero sense.
It makes zero sense lore-wise, but from
I know
a game
why
development size, they want you to explore the map on the ground, do everything from the ground, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But when I get max level, just let me fly at that point.
Yeah.
You know? Because at this point, I'm not doing the story. I'm basically... I've explored the world. I've seen how pretty it was. I'm now doing this to... usually, I'm doing this to fast track my... getting missions done or my dailies done. Fly here to do this. Fly here to pick this up and return it. Fly here to do this. Fly here to do that. Or I'm flying to a raid, or I'm flying to a dungeon entrance, or it's just one of those where, like, if you permanently anchor me to the ground because I didn't do A, B, C, and Z, then I'm kind of pissed because it's like, well,
let me just say it this way, because they've done it that way for the last 6 expansions or so.
What?
Where you had to do all these stupid things to get flying.
No. So Cataclysm, I think, was the last one you could just buy the license. So from Warlords of Draenor onward, so like if I go to Warlords right now, if I go their zone, I can't fly because I have not done the. I boycotted it.
Yeah. Well, if you use your token to advance a character to max level, it unlocks flying for all your account for all those.
I didn't know that.
At least that's been my experience.
Because
it's account wide, right? When you unlock flying, is it an account wide? That tells you how much I hate it. I've never done it, and all the ones that they required you to do. So, anyways, here's what I'm going to say. This is their 8th freaking expansion. If you want me to experience your world, then make it where flying enhances that experience and stop making me walk around slowly on the ground to experience the game. Be a better developer. That's what I'm going to say. Because it just pisses me off. That is the one thing that has pissed me off the most about World of Warcraft is they take away flying. And, okay, I'm with you. If they made me wait till max level and then I put down a chunk of change to unlock it, fine. But to make me go through all these hoops and factions and quests, it's garbage. It's totally garbage. I've never done it, and I've played WoW more than a casual person. I mean, I've done some serious hard raiding in these expansions and not unlocked flying because it just pisses me off so much.
Yeah, I will agree. But that has been the disagreement between the developer and the players. Players want to just get max level and then go fly because it's easier. And
I wanted to just leave it unlocked from the get-go and design their damn world around flying.
Well, I mean, you just said if you didn't mind if they made you stay on the ground.
Right, that would be a kind of a meet you in the middle. But I think they should design the game that I'm flying already, I have that ability, don't take that shit away from me, and I'm going to cussing, and nobody here ever hears me cuss. That's how mad I am about this thing.
I get it. I get it. It's
don't take it away from me. It's like, okay, those video games that they give you max level when you start, right? And they show you all these abilities, and then all of a sudden, oh, your memory's wiped out, and you got to go and relearn all these skills and stuff. Knock that off. Knock that off. Yeah. Either don't show me them and let me learn them as I'm going or something, but don't give me everything and then take it all away. Stop that nonsense. I hate when they take abilities away.
Yeah, I do too. But, I mean, that's again, the disagreement between player base and developer base. They view it as an enhancement. We view it as an annoying thing that you're making us fill all the check marks before we can then unlock it.
It's a time sink to keep people playing
Well,
and paying
yeah,
that $15 a month. If they were better developers, and I'm calling them out, if they were better developers, there would be, like you were saying, fun reasons for me to come back to a game. I have a friend who doesn't play MMOs because they're not fun. And he says that if you had an MMO that was fun, I would pay a subscription fee to play it. But I don't want to do all this monotonous time sink stuff just because they need me to keep my subscription. And that's what they do. All their quests, all their dailies, all these things are done in a manner to time sink you into having to do them to keep up with the Joneses, to be able to play at a level with everybody else. And it's dumb.
I would agree. But, again, that's just our disagreement when it comes down to it,
Right.
I want to be. That's one of the reasons why I left. Got tired of constant running around. It was annoying, especially when in the previous expansion I could fly.
Yeah.
Just give them 1,000 gold. Yay! I got my license. I could fly again. So, again,
and in an area you'd already flown in, yeah. And imagine that you're in a PvP zone, you haven't unlocked flying, but this guy who has 20 hours a day to play has unlocked it, and he's griefing you because you can't fly and you're trying to run away from him on your grounded mount. It's just
I think they have done something with that. That's an instance type of thing now, so it's not like in Wrath where if you went into whatever that PvP zone was in Wrath, like if you were like flying over it, all of a sudden you got flagged, so everyone flew around it, so they didn't get flagged. They did away with that type of stuff, but or you have to flag yourself, and then the other person has to flag themselves. But I just let me unlock it once I hit max level, take my gold, give me my license,
don't take
let
it away
me
from
fly.
us. Don't take it away from us.
Well, I mean, I don't mind them taking it away.
Don't take my toys. Don't take my toys.
I mean, again, my thing is I don't mind it because being on the ground doesn't bother me when I'm exploring and doing the story to get to max level. It's once I'm max level and I'm doing dailies and I got to go to this zone, and then I got to go to this zone, and then I got to go to that. And I'm just running along, and then I got a flight point that drops me off in a odd location that is really not conducive, and then I got to run there. Yeah, screw all that. Just let me fly.
Exactly.
I have max level flying mounts, so give it to me. But, I mean, that's just a horse we continue to beat because it drives us nuts.
It does drive us nuts. All right, so moving on.
Any games coming out this week?
Yeah, that's where I was going. No, there's not really. I looked. There wasn't anything that I felt like, let me announce this game. And no, there are games coming out this week, but there's nothing that I want to endorse, I guess. So, nothing that I saw. Well, you go ahead.
I get it. So, for Epic, of course, they give away free games, and they've been giving away because of the pandemic. So this week it's Just Cause 4 and Wheels of Aurelia. I think that's how you say it. For this week, and then next week is For the King, which looks pretty good. I might actually play that one. But I do enjoy Just Cause 4. I liked that one.
For the King is a pretty fun, think of it like a board game type of RPG where you can play with other people. I think you play with 2 other people if you want, or you can control your whole squad. But it's not bad. I played it with my son a little bit, and he still plays it from time to time, so it's not bad. And Just Cause 4, mayhem and destruction, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like something you might want to play this week.
Well, I like Just Cause, and actually I might play it. But as we were talking, I've got to get back in and do the finished prologue, the Demon Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Because I started it and then got frustrated with it because it seemed impossible before I reread some of the cards. Then I'm like, oh, I think I can figure this out now. So I think I got it. I just got to get in there and do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm still going to be pumping out those Persona 5.
I've noticed.
I really love that game. I love Persona 5, but now that Persona 5 Royal is out, that game they've added so much to it that I'm surprised. Because I played Persona 4 Golden, and I don't think they added half as much as what they're adding in Royal for Persona 5. But yeah. So yeah, if you guys are wondering, I'm the one that's doing the Persona videos.
Yeah, I don't do Persona.
So you can say static on the comments there if you want to ask a question or whatnot. But yeah, I've got a couple coming out tomorrow, hopefully. YouTube doesn't pull some weird rendering stuff on me like it did today. I put them up last night and had them downloading, and then I released them kind of stagnant, like every hour, and I guess some of them were 360 when they released or something. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody was commenting on that, and I was like, I normally check. I guess I'm going to have to start checking now, but I thought I
look to make sure that the HD is lit up under the description. Then I'm like, okay, it's good to go. Well, I'll pre-play it, and I'm like, well, it's good. So there you go.
I do that if I upload it and then try to release it the same day. But if I'm putting it the night before, I usually just it should be good. I'm not thinking about it, but I guess
I always check it just to be sure, because I've released a couple like that were a little, and then they got better later that day. I should have waited a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I wonder, with everybody being home, how much YouTube is getting hit and how much more videos are being put out.
I don't know. All I know is my internet about midday sucks because everyone's working from home. So, like, all of a sudden, my Skype for Business is like, it disconnects. And if I'm on a Skype meeting, all of a sudden, like, I disconnect. I'm like, well, shit, it's doing it again. But yeah, everyone's feeling that pain. Right?
Yeah.
Our home networks, our home ISP was not meant to burden this type of load. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, they never thought that everybody would be using it at the same time, which is what's going on now.
Well, now they know. Gotta beef that stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully they will. Yeah, I don't know. I know that my ping in Rocket League goes crazy every once in a while. I'm like, oh man, I can't see where the ball is. I think I'm hitting the ball, and this next thing is behind me. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, it's due to everybody everyone's all online, pulling from the bandwidth.
Yep, indeed, they are. All right, so that was about, what did we say, like 15 articles?
Yeah, but it was 14 stories, and then the coming out free. Yeah. So about 15. Yeah, it was a lot.
There was a lot of news in there.
A lot of news.
So we do this every Sunday. We don't really have a standard time because we got to be flexible with our schedule, unfortunately. But we do this every Sunday. So if you guys are looking for it again, and next week I will make sure that we do an audio check. We kind of didn't do that this week. I forgot. So would
first half there is no audio from me.
Yeah, no. Which is a shame. So we'll make sure that doesn't happen next week.
Yep.
So, all right. Anyways, until next time, take care. Bye-bye now. Static Buzz and Oz out. Man, I'm rusty. You could tell I'm rusty.
See you guys later.
It's like, I'm not even getting my lines right.